Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Tell us about your new EP that's coming out.
It's called Together Away. And I wrote the music for it actually pre-pandemic. And the idea has sort of blossomed, though, and takes on new meaning for me now. It was originally a reflection of being apart from loved ones on tour, or, you know, from having lost loved ones in my life, and recognizing that even when somebody isn't directly next to you, there's still a way to feel connected, and that, you know, all of our loved ones that we have shared a connection with, even when we're far apart, we can still know that there's a closeness and trust that. So that's why I named it Together Away. And then the pandemic came, and now I feel like it's at first I was holding on to it and thinking maybe I wouldn't release it until things open up again and I can, you know, tour and do it kind of like the way that I had originally thought about releasing music. And then as time went on, I was like, wow, there are a lot of people that I miss right now, that I'm apart from, that I love. And yet, you know, here we are finding ways to still be connected and feel connected. And so it kind of shifted even more for me, and kind of then releasing it now feels like, oh, well, you know, maybe things work out the way they work out for a reason. So I'm excited to share it. And I feel like it's also really exciting because I've done a lot of things musically with my career. I've done studio singing, and I've used my voice as an animation actress, and I've done, you know, various things with symphonies and jazz bands, and I come from a theater background, so I've done some musicals and touring with that. But this is the first time that it's my songs, my story. You know, many of these songs I wrote while on tour with, you know, something else where I'm singing other people's music. And then I would go to my dressing room, and often I would request to have a piano when that was possible, if we were in a performing arts center or something, so that I could be writing my own story. And so that's really special to kind of, to be in a situation where, you know, there's no director, there's no producer saying, well, I already have this track written and we need you to, you know, we want you to channel without any direction, just kind of like singing and trying to find that authentic voice. And what my story sounds like has been such a journey. And I'm excited to share that. That'll be the first time that that is out in the world, that it's something that, you know, I'm lending my voice to my story.
Yeah, and this comes at a great time. I wouldn't even have any trepidation about, you know, releasing it or not releasing it. It's just we so need the music.
Yeah.
The timing really couldn't have been better. It's a great EP. I listened to it through a few times, and it just got such a wonderful, soulful, sweet delivery on all the tracks. It's just really amazing.
Thank
really
you so much. Yeah,
I've seen some of these videos too. Are there videos to all of the songs on it, or just our most?
No. Yeah, so there was a video for Changing Seasons, the first single that came out, and that we filmed on the apple orchard where I played a lot as a kid, which is also really fun because, you know, when people ask, so are these the first songs that you've written? I always kind of laugh like, no, I think I've been writing my whole life, but it was always just sort of a form of play. You know, like I would come up with songs for fun, and this is, and so being on that apple orchard kind of like reminded me of those days as a kid where it was just like playing in the orchards and being musical, and, you know, it just felt right to be dancing around singing my music. And Changing Seasons, there's, in that music video, there's a lot of imagery of like the fall leaves, but it's also a metaphor about embracing all of the cycles of life, you know, that life is full of many colors, and it's not always springtime. Sometimes, but kind of embracing that and knowing that, and trusting that in accepting what life brings, in, going with the cycles as the seasons change and kind of going for it. And if I don't experience that, if I don't dive into the fullness of life or take a risk, as sharing music feels like, then I don't get to have all these wonderful metaphors to write with. I don't get all these enriching experiences to write with. So kind of embracing that journey. So I guess in that way, the song is one big metaphor itself. And then Least Resistance, the second single, is, I guess in a way similar. I was in the middle of the woods, and I just started thinking about the kind of life I want to see, and the kind of love I want to know, and the kind of world I want to live in. And I just felt like this impulse in my body to just run. So I was running through the woods, and then I stopped, very winded, and this song came to me that I recorded into my phone in the woods about, just that it can be, changing seasons is about going with, accepting all of the colors and kind of being brave and diving in. And Least Resistance is kind of saying, yes, that's important to go with the flow, but also sometimes to create that life that you really want, it is swimming upstream. It is making something happen, not just taking the jobs that come, or, kind of like just going with whatever is right in front of you. Sometimes it takes a specific, dedicated, rigorous effort to move in the direction of your heart and your dreams. And so that's what Least Resistance is about not just taking the path of least resistance and kind of flowing, that's not the way either. It's about embracing life fully, and also jumping in and taking the reins of your life and guiding where you want to be, which I think is kind of also how it feels to share music. It's like, oh, okay, I'm taking the reins. It's fun to be an actor and to step into someone else's shoes, but it's so different and in a way empowering to be like, this is my story. I'm making decisions, and I'm guiding my path and taking the reins and, directing myself. And that feels kind of empowering in another way. Not that being an actor is disempowering or being a studio singer is disempowering, but it is kind of the first time that it's not like 5 people on the other side of the glass while I'm in the booth giving me direction. It's kind of, I'm getting to take this blank canvas and paint the picture. And it's Least Resistance is like, okay, paint it, do the thing,
What was it like recording this EP? Was it recorded in Seattle?
So we did kind of some of the backbone stuff in Los Angeles, which is where I'm from and where I'm talking to you from now. So we did some of the guitar parts and piano parts here, and then I met Philip Peterson, who I ended up packing a bag and flying to Seattle, not, never having met him, but he's worked on many albums and with many people that I really respect, Jessie Ware and Lana Del Rey and Lorde, and people that I think sonically are doing something really beautiful. And the thing that I really wanted to make sure I did on this album was tell a story and go on a journey. I think perhaps because of my background in the theater, and some of my idols being like, Barbra Streisand and Judy Garland, and people who, yes, it's a beautiful sound, but like beyond the beauty, it's also going to take you on a journey. And it's like, you feel like they're just singing to that one person in the audience, and you're with them in this vulnerable moment. So it felt important to me to work with somebody who had a similar affinity for cinematic storytelling, going on a journey. And Philip is absolutely that. He helped. Together we sort of painted the picture, like the lines were sort of drawn in, but then we brought all this life to the canvas and kind of like created the journey. And I went there to work. Originally we had agreed on working on the focus track of the EP, which is called Lover's Lullaby. And I sent him that, and I got on a plane. And by the time I landed and got to his studio with my suitcases, he played me what he'd been working on. I was like, oh, okay, I want to do the whole EP here. I want to finish it. So I immediately changed my flight, and we worked from sunrise to sunset for a week, and kind of knocked it all out. And then the mastering happened in Los Angeles, and the mixing in Los Angeles. But yeah, it was really special to go somewhere different and very green and very kind of separated from all the other kind of creative projects that I often get swept up in, and just to be in this other beautiful place in the studio every day, carving away at this image and, painting on this canvas to tell this story or communicate this idea through this EP, which is sort of a concept EP.
Yeah, it's a big, beautiful sound. He's got a lot of strings in it. It's just like, yeah, talk about theatrical.
Yes, very cinematic, very theatrical, yeah.
So you talk about your inspirations was Barbra Streisand and people like that growing up. Did you look at it like, wow, I'd like to do that one day?
Absolutely. I would say, aside from Barbra Streisand being just, the voice of an angel, and it's what really moves me is that every time she sings a song, you feel a real sense of clarity about who she is, what the conflict is, what she's trying to pursue, what's at stake. It's like, it's not to like poo-poo American Idol or things like that, but it's not about like vocal gymnastics, although she's got that too. But it's like this, it's like the thing that moves me is when people are really willing to show themselves, and that vulnerability and authenticity. That's something that I have always been really moved by in singers like her, and something that I hope to bring as well. And the other funny thing about the timing of this is I created this EP, and in listening back to the songs that I'd written, I was like, well, it's not club music. It's not gonna be played while people are like, dancing. And it's really gonna be more like the cozy. It's sort of like, yeah, it takes you on a journey. It's like close listening, or Changing Seasons has like a, just kind of like cozy. It's raining outside, or it's like you're inside, and here we are all inside. There are no clubs. So I guess in that way, it's like, it's more of kind of people have said, oh yeah, it kind of has like the pace of like a Norah Jones album, or, it's like easy, kind of intimate. And yeah, so that's what we ended up creating. And I like that. And maybe the timing of that is okay too, because a lot of us are just kind of, small gatherings.
Oh yeah. Like I said, it's just totally perfect. And going back, when did you discover, hey, I love this singing thing? When did that first start out for you?
Oh gosh, I've always loved singing. Like I was saying, it was kind of just always like the earliest form of play. I think my mom says even before I developed language, I was always creating melodies. I was just kind of like off in my own world, singing whatever melodies. And then as soon as words came, it was always just like a form of play. It was always like whoever was coming over for dinner, we were going to put on a show. It was, any friends that were there, we would, come up with. That was just a favorite form of play. So it started really young. And then I think I did my first talent show as a second grader. I think I sang Blue Moon, another Elvis Presley tune. So this one that I released, Can't Help Falling in Love, in February, was like, oh, hey, Elvis is back. Another Elvis tune. But yeah, that Blue Moon happened, and the people in our little town were like, oh, it's the Blue Moon girl. I was very enthusiastic about being on stage and singing, and it was much bigger than our dinner audience. But and then as I think at 12, I started singing on our local TV station. And then I started doing musicals and things like that. And I started working as a studio singer once I was in college. So I started working with publishing companies like Hal Leonard. And yeah, I've done lots of different studio work for, jingles and demos for Broadway shows, developing musicals. yeah, lots of different things. And then animation, I worked with Sony Animation as the new voice of the Swan Princess for their Swan Princess movies. So that's been really fun too, doing her speaking voice and singing voice. But yeah, this is my first time kind of, it's my name. I'm not wearing a costume. I'm not hiding behind a microphone and it's just an animated character. It's me, and it feels very different and more vulnerable. And I think it takes bravery and confidence, and I'm really enjoying the journey. And in a way, I think that this time where there aren't, I'm not auditioning for live shows. There's no touring happening. There's no, it's this space, I think, has allowed me to make the time to share music, which I've always intended to do, but somehow again, with like taking the reins and really doing the thing that feels the most like my heart wants to do it, but also therefore it feels the scariest, and there's some resistance there perhaps. And it's like, oh, well, this audition is tomorrow, so I should focus on that. It's like right now, perhaps having the space and with a little bit less going on to pull my artistic focus, now I'm finally carving out the time to share these songs and share my story and, do this. So that's special too. I'm trying to embrace that. Yeah.
Oh, totally. When did you were a performer first. So when did you get into songwriting and just taking a stab at that?
Yeah, I would say, as I said, it's always been a form of play. And so I think I've always been writing songs, but, you don't remember them unless you record them or you sing them over and over. And so I think I started as I was finishing college, I worked with a composer named Patrick Williams and an arranger, and he's worked with some of my favorites like Barbra Streisand. He's done some of her albums, and Michael Bublé, and he did Frank Sinatra's album. He passed away, which is really sad, but what a mark he left, and so many fabulous albums. So I went in as a studio singer. He was developing,
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Working on these big band charts for what was going to probably be a Broadway show. And so I went in and sang on some of his tunes. And then afterwards, and I was still in college at this time. And afterwards he said, what is your kid, what's your plan? What are you doing? Who are you? And I was like, well, I'm going to graduate soon. And I think I'm going to move to New York and try the auditioning scene there. And he's like, how about you don't for a while and you stay in LA? I really think that your voice should be recorded, and we should, I have a lot of tunes that we could arrange for your voice, and, let's create together. So that was awesome. And it culminated in a symphony concert where there were several charts that he had these songs that he had written that he then arranged for my voice with a 75-piece orchestra and a band. And then one of the songs I had written. And so during that time, when I was like, well, if I'm not going to go to New York and I'm here in LA and I'm in the studio, then this journey is about finding my voice and telling my story. And, because you don't have a character, it's not like, what does the character need right now? It's like, do I want to sing this song because this song resonates for me? And if so, how? And what am I talking about? And who am I talking to? And it becomes very personal and very intimate. And that was really intriguing. And And I think then when I go back to pieces that are more theatrical, it reminds me to bring that with even more of myself to that, because I now know what it's like to write a song and to sit on every word and be like, which word do I choose and why, and how filled every moment is. I think that's a lesson too. But when he arranged one of my songs for the symphony and I sang that, it was like, that moment was, I think, really inspiring for me to spend more time writing my songs so that I could bring my voice to my songs, because it just, I don't even know how to describe it. It just felt so different. It was like just, my whole body. There wasn't the separation where it's like you're trying to work your way in. How do I see this song that someone else wrote and find myself in it? It's like, oh, I know exactly what I was feeling when I wrote this. I know exactly why this needed to come out and what I was trying to communicate and who I was trying to speak it to, and all of these things that are like the moment before you sit down to write something. And then I got to bring that to the moment of sharing, of putting my voice on it. It was just, that's, I think, the moment where I started really feeling inspired to write. And since then I've been, in the last just couple of years, writing a lot. And it feels so good to think like, oh yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Like there's a lot of noise in this world and a lot of like direct, and especially in working in other creative spaces where it's other direction or other characters, and you kind of like go into those journeys. I've really enjoyed being able to come back and like tap into what is my voice freeing right now. What am I, where is just Nina, without any sort of guidance saying. And that's been such an interesting journey. And I'm so grateful that I found songwriting for that reason, because it feels really empowering to know what you're trying to communicate and to be connected to your voice. That's a source of strength and clarity that I'm excited to keep journeying into. And I'm really grateful that with the time I've spent doing it so far.
Yeah, it's so important to write your own material. I mean, covers are great, which you'll probably always continue to do, but you really make your mark by expressing yourself that way.
Yeah. And even, the shows get shaped because it's like, okay, this is clearly how I'm feeling. And then the other songs that are written, they're like, oh yeah, that feels like this song, this fits in the set because this songwriter clearly knew how I was coming from, or, how I was feeling. And then it's just another approach, and it's really fun. And the experience, that symphony concert, the symphony concert, I sang with the National Symphony when I was in high school. That was another really big defining moment because, I come from a family of all people in science pretty much. And like nobody has pursued the entertainment industry in any way. Although they do appreciate good music. But I think part of me was like, kind of unclear about how doing this thing that I love so much would be a career versus just a form of play. And then also this concern about whether or not it was like altruistic enough or clearly making an impact in the world. Like medicine is a very literal way of helping people. But then after that concert at the Wolf Trap with the National Symphony, it was like all these people together with all this positive energy. It was undeniable that there was some form of medicine, it was like some form of thing that brought people joy. So that was a very defining moment. But in all of those instances and earlier performances, it was always, again, my singing other people's music, musical theater kind of thing. This concert with Pat, where it was my song, was just sort of another way in. And now this concert work, it's very different. It's like the in between songs. It's about sharing myself, and it feels like more naked in a way. Like when you're a character, it's like you might think this character is crazy, or like you might be worried about the character, or you might be like in love with the character or whatever, but it's like that whatever the audience's experiences are with whatever you're putting out, it's like the character. But when it's my concerts and some of my songs, some songs I've picked, it's me, it's like a different kind of like, here I am. There's no hiding anymore.
It probably takes some getting used to. You must really miss live performing and really getting that instant audience reaction.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I think we all do. Yeah.
So sad. I love the YouTube channel. There are a lot of your videos there. You seem like such a natural with the camera. I think that really works well.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that we've done a couple of virtual concerts. That's cool. And in a way, it's like, okay, we did a concert in a theater that was, I think, a 500 seat theater, but then like 1,500 people could stream in. So it's like, okay, 3 times the house size can see it. But it's also just so funny that it's like you finish a song and it's like 2 camera people, in this giant theater. But thank goodness for it. And then in that situation, we're all spread out. The band is all, careful. But it's like just creating music, not just in your apartment alone, sending it virtually becomes really special too. And suddenly 2 people in the audience feels huge. Because it's like people, I'm not just alone in my little virtual world. How nice. So yeah, grateful for what we do have, but definitely excited for that feeling of us all coming together again. And I think I've been talking about and thinking about, I think on some level people will, after this, it'll be a while before anyone is like in a room with a bunch of people and doesn't feel some level of nervousness or whatever. I think there are a good number of people that want to go to a concert again, but the idea of not, the idea of being in a room with that many people will be anxiety inducing for a while. But I also think that there's this other part of just the well-being of a person that is about community and connection, and coming together through music is something that we've been doing as a civilization, or just, as long as humans have been on this planet. We like come around the fire and share in drum beats and sounds, and that's like a part of our existence. And I think it's really necessary and important. So I know there will be there's concern, but I also think there are a lot of reasons that this is important, and that I hope that we, as soon as it is a thing that everyone feels like, or a thing that we're advised is okay again, I hope that we remember that too, that we need that.
Yeah. What was it like recording for the Swan Princess?
Oh, that was really fun, but also like very antisocial. I was just telling someone that, I never had met my prince, like the entire making of we were just, you get called in. The thing about voiceover and animation that is wild, it is like such an exercise of the imagination, because there are no props, there are no costumes. If anything, you get to wear your comfy clothes because nobody can see you. It's all about your voice. But still, it's like, you don't get all of you. There's no set, there's no lights, there's no other actors. It's all in your mind. And so the work really becomes, yes, about finding your character, as you would if you were doing, a live action movie or a play, but also all this work to be like a director and an artistic director in a way too, because you have to really see it and be there, even though you're in, a studio with a glass wall and 6 producers staring at you, and, your one microphone. You're like in this whole world, and the only thing you have to pull from is your imagination. And then you got to bring it to life with your voice. That part is so strange and different, but fun. I like the challenge.
Oh, sure. Certainly. It's all acting, but you have that, you feel like you're talking to yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah. Or it's just kind of strange it's a challenge to remember that you're not, to like really, even though I've never seen this other character and I only hear his voice, it's like the actor, need to walk in the room on the day of recording and know exactly who I'm talking to. And it all has to be just this fantasy world that I created. Because the only way I can tell that story is with my voice. Yeah, it's so different. It's so different. Are you
wanting to get into other types of acting, like your traditional on-screen roles? Have you tried
Yeah, I'm working right now actually on a project that is like kind of it's a indie movie musical kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that really interests me. And yeah, I mean, I'm open to, if I'm being creative and, telling a story and using my voice, I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, I mean, and when I first, again, as a kid, I didn't really even know that having a career in this was possible, or I didn't know about animation acting. I didn't know about studio singing. I didn't know, it's like, I thought you could just, it was just Broadway or nothing. And there happens to be a lot of ways to use your voice, and to tell stories. And that's what I want to do. And all these different mediums just excite me. I think before the pandemic, to be honest, I was a little bit concerned that I had all these interests, and I felt like, Nina, you need to choose, you need to decide, are you a voice actor? Are you a singer? Do you write your own songs, or are you a jazz singer? Like, you need to choose. And now I think, oh no, thank goodness that there, that I have all these there are so many different ways to do these things that inspire me, which is to communicate, to tell a story, to go on a journey, to be vulnerable and authentic, and showing a human being who really wants something and needs something, and something is at stake. And just that journey that we get to go on when we connect with music and through storytelling. I think that's important and something I want to do. And now I'm just happy there are a lot of different ways to do it, because right now we happen to be a little bit, limited in some of them. Broadway isn't happening right now, so
yeah, Broadway would be so nice to see you get up over there and
that'd be fun. That would be fun. Yeah, I would be open to that. I love that. And there are a lot of people like Sarah Bareilles, just she has done music things, but then that's enhanced. She just did wrote Waitress, which was a big hit. In fact, one of my favorite shows I've seen in a while. And Carole King, they did Beautiful. I mean, these happen to also be shows that, like, those are probably the top ones I'd want to do. But I feel like, I don't know exactly what all the connect the dots, like where I'm headed exactly, but I know that I'm just following my inspiration, and I know that I'm trying to, show up and be here for the surprise, and also to, put my heart in focus into carving out time to do these things and to explore these things. And where I end up, who knows? Like, I'm not planning a tour right now. I'm not thinking about, it's like, I'm just being in the moment of, well, what can I do right now? And my goal right now is to share this music, to tell this story, which is, a way to do it through music, through the cinematic storytelling, to connect with audiences as much as I can through this virtual space until we can be together again. And I think that there are a lot of possibilities for that, to be able to connect through music, through all the social medias. I have an Instagram that I'm active on, which is I am Nina Herzog. I have, I'm doing Facebook, YouTube, like you mentioned. So these are, and things like this where I get to come and talk to you and we get to connect over music. I mean, this is the stuff. This is the favorite. Obviously, of course, eventually we want to be able to do all this in person. But right now I'm just trying to stay focused on where I am and where the world is and what I can do right now with this in front of me, and jump in and embrace where we are in a way, insofar as that it doesn't like keep me in bed because I miss the old. It's like I have to just go to changing seasons. Here we are, we're in this season. How are we gonna get to the next?
Where can we get your EP? Is that all downloadable through your website? If
you go to my website, which is IamNinaHerzog.com, there's links to pre-save the EP Together Away. So you'll see a link to pre-save there. On my Instagram, which is also IamNinaHerzog, there's a link to pre-save the EP. It'll be available on all streaming platforms. And that, any way that you like to get your music, you can find it there. And if you want to listen and get a taste to 2 of the tracks that are on the EP, those are out now. So that's Least Resistance and Changing Seasons. And those are on all of the streaming services as well. or any way you like to get your music, you can find it there.
Well, I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. I love hearing about how artists are really creating in this day and age and getting out there. And so it sounds like you got a lot on the plates, and there's going to be a lot more in the future, I'm sure.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed connecting here too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.